Little update. So I used that yesterday. It was actually good. The band is not too tight, so it didn't give me a headache, and it's not too loose, so it doesn't actually wiggle around. It's just the perfect length, and these eye bits are actually quite well done, because the way it's made is that it sits like this, so I don't get that pressure on the bridge. But also this part is quite heavy because of the lavender, so it always droops, and I don't really get light coming in. And I am a tosser in when I sleep. I always go like this in this multiple times. It's something that I need to fix because I'm hyper. But the light doesn't get in, so I'm quite happy with it actually. Worked quite well. So yeah, happy with that purchase. Now the only problem that I have is that we have a storm, and at night the wind would just keep moving the windows, and I just heard too much noise. So I need to find some kind of um, like wax balls that I typically had. I had them a long time ago, so I need to find them, and I need to organize my room. I don't know how this happened, but I have to do that. Hey, just back from the dentist. I finally have my new mouth guard. It actually looks like a retainer. Let me put you somewhere here. Okay. Oh my god, it looks like a retainer, and you wear it just as you would a retainer. Actually, it's just much thicker, and when you remove it, it has a mechanism such that it's not meant to be removed at once. You have to tilt one side or the other. That thing was unbelievably expensive, so I'm supposed to wear it during day and night because I have a tendency to clench my teeth when I'm focused. So I need to be wearing this whenever I'm working. With time, I'm going to probably imprint it a little bit more, and then I have like a visit in a month just to reset it and see if it needs any adjusting because of the bite. But yeah, I'm going to give it a very quick rinse and then wear it. Here. Not very tight, but I can't say S's and things like that. I'm also glad that it's not an opaque, crazy black, blue, or green color, because whenever I think of mouth guard, I think of rugby players. I probably won't be able to speak with this, but I don't know, maybe it would help. Morning. I'm making my second tea of the day. Just had breakfast, and my dishwasher is running, so if you hear it, that's the sound that goes like. Anyway, so I thought let's do now the second part of my non-resolutions, and it's essentially what I've been thinking about over the past weeks when I was on New Year's break, but also over the first few weeks of January. We'll cover several topics, but I know that many of you wanted me to cover also the financial part. I don't necessarily have a numerical financial goal, so that I will start with that. But I want also to put things in context in that I've always been financially careful. I have a history of going places, like I moved from Morocco to Belgium, where obviously Moroccan money is not something that you can take and start over elsewhere. So although I had quite a nice financial cushion in Morocco, our currency is not transferable. So I was only able to take a small amount of money, which made my start in Belgium a lot more difficult. I also was having difficulties opening a bank account because I was not European, and it took I think I was not paid for my first months working there, and it was just overall quite hard. When I moved to the UK, I would say the transition was a bit simpler. It was difficult in other aspects, in that I was again thinking of starting over. When I decided to move to the UK, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a next step. Matter of fact, I was actually moving into industry. The whole going back to consulting was completely, it was one of those things that I think one day, if I were to write a book of short stories that are inspired by my life, that would be one of those things where people don't even believe it. Like, a lot of the things that happened to me is just serendipity. But I feel the move to the UK was less taxing financially, because I already had a bank account in Brussels where I had euros, which you can transfer into pounds. That means that a lot of the things that you need to get started again were just a consideration of how much I want to pay for it, and not whether or not I can afford it, right? I did not think about money for quite some time after moving to the UK, because I felt that I managed my finances quite well. Um, I just feel that I never lived above my means. I splurged whenever I felt like splurging, but I never regretted any of these. Um, then the pandemic hit, and I could observe a lot of things, because I spent all my time in my apartment. It is sunny today, bizarrely, sunny slash foggy, but it's still 1 degree C outside. And also, being in the third lockdown, I'm not going anywhere. I'm one of those people who actually overstick to the rules, because I know that many people don't respect the rules, and I came to be okay with that, because I know that people have different maturity levels, different interpretations, etc. So everybody's doing their part. But what this meant is that my only source of entertainment, I would say, or mental break, non-screen break, was looking through my window. And I live in a very posh place. And I observed through the first lockdown, second lockdown, and now the third lockdown, how people around the area fared, I would say, in this ordeal. And I understood even more the importance of money. It almost feels like the pandemic is the crisis of the poor, and it made a difference between the have and have-nots. Things like grocery shopping. If you can afford to get things delivered to your place, you don't need to go and stand next to the people who refuse to wear a mask or wear it down here because they don't think that the nose is part of the respiratory system. If you have money, you don't need to worry about how you're going to homeschool your kids, because the government keeps yo-yoing about whether or not schools are open. You just get the proper childcare, you get the proper tuition, and you know that in 2, 3, 4 years, that will be a very big difference. The kids who are left behind because they don't have the right bandwidth, they don't have the right broadband, they don't have the right equipment. 5 people in the house are fighting over one Wi-Fi thing with the 2 very shady devices that keep dropping or the battery dies, versus people who have the right environment, working out. The difference between people who could continue to go to clubs, people who could continue to get personal trainers. I know a person who just got a personal trainer over the lockdown. His wife got him this as a present because he was depressed for not being able to go to the gym because all the gyms are closed. So if your only way of getting exercise is going outside or relying on like the public parks, and the public parks in your area are quite dodgy, then you have to go to a nicer area to walk in a park. That's just too much hassle. If you cannot get fresh ingredients, then you are eating things that are a little bit over-processed. Sometimes you are eating things that are not always good for you. if you don't have access to the right coping mechanisms, you might be coping in other ways that are less healthy for you. So definitely in the pandemic I observed, because I when I looked around me, I know people of different economic backgrounds. So I live next to people who are very, 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 very old money, generations of old money. And I have a glimpse at some people who are a bit more new to money. Then you have the expats. Then I recognize some of people I know. I know a couple of people in investment banking, and one guy is German in PE. And then I have the other people who I still see here, like the construction worker, Polish, Romanian. You have the odd Portuguese every now and then, because we have lots of construction work happening right now. Because again, for some people, the pandemic means less traffic, business as usual. I will refurbish everything. And I observe these little things every day. I look at how the people working in, like the people who serve coffee, the people who are at the tills, etc. They come on their bicycle, but up to in the first lockdown they were coming still in public transportation. I'm thinking how long it took them to get to have a bicycle, and they're riding their bicycle when it's 1 degree C, and all these kind of things. Like they did not necessarily have a choice in switching. So yeah, I always said in many previous videos that money does not buy you happiness, but neither does poverty. And money makes a lot of hassles a bit easier. Doesn't mean that you don't experience pain, doesn't mean that you don't experience disappointment, doesn't mean that any negative or sad feelings you have are invalid. It just means that there are certain things at certain levels that you normally wouldn't have to worry about. It's a hierarchy of things, right? And so that just emphasized that money is important, financial stability is important, but then I also take in consideration that whenever you have a discussion like that, and because I'm very candid, you always introduce a notion of a little bit of judgment. Whether you like it or not, you always introduce a bit of judgment, because when you make a certain choice, by definition you excluded other options. If you spent £100 buying something, by definition you have lost the opportunity to invest that £100 in something else. Or if you bought £100 worth of food, that could have been £100 pair of jeans. That could also have been £100 in your saving. That could also have been £100 you paid at the doctor's. And the difference between having a lot of excess money and barely making it is that oftentimes below a certain threshold there isn't much of that substitution. And so the discussion becomes, yes, I spent £100 on food. If I like the jeans, I will get the £100 jeans, and. So it's no longer an or. It can be an and. Let me see who's coming. That's actually my lovely postman. I didn't order anything, but he knows since the pandemic, he knows I'm always the one who's always home. So he does not even try, because it's only 4 flats. So he does not try any other address. He just rings me. I've seen him a few times. I went down a couple of times to talk to him. I think he doesn't like. You think that the postman talks to a lot of people given their job, but actually no. Perhaps in more rural areas, because somebody might need to come and ring you in, or sometimes it's very old people who wouldn't talk to human beings otherwise, so they take the time. But in such urban areas, it's just like doing it. So I like every now and then to just talk to him and ask, how are you doing? But anyway, so that is where my dilemma was, because I was thinking, I don't want to have a numerical objective. What I want to have is a lifestyle objective. I want to be at the point where I if I were to make an important decision, I don't have to worry about what am I missing by doing that thing. Which brings me to my next point. I probably need to have an additional source of income. I work extremely hard and I manage my income very well. But from all my previous videos that you would have seen when I was in Belgium and also when I was choosing to move to London, where I live is somewhere where I don't compromise. I lived in the best possible area in Brussels and I live in the best possible area in London. It's something where that is how I function. I have my own insecurities, my own trauma, and my sense of where I feel safe is completely ridiculous. So I'm not saying that everybody should go and live somewhere where they can count the cameras in the street or something like that. I'm the person who needs that. I'm the person who needs to almost have a map of what is the visual, what is the coverage of the camera, where are the blind spots, how many street lights are there, what is the frequency at which a police patrol goes. I know when the police horses come. It's just something that, because of many years of working in my previous career with certain topics, made me acutely aware of these security concerns. And so, because that's something that is a non-negotiable for me, I'm willing to pay for it. And that means that sometimes I forego other things that are important for other people. So you have other people who would say, no, why would I pay this to a landlord? Like, I'd rather do this and this and that. And I'm like, fine. It's fine if you actually want to live with two of your friends and live somewhere else and then spend your money every Thursday, Friday and Saturday at the pub. I don't enjoy the pub, so I spend my money at my place. But with that in mind, while I always seek to live in the best place I could afford, my definition of what I could afford is it needs to be 33% of my take-home income. And it is not the case here. In London, I looked, remember when I was looking, I looked at dozens and dozens of apartments because I did that in 2 phases. I don't know if you when I did my series on moving to London, I was looking in the period of March, and I looked at dozens of places. But at that time, I didn't really know what I was going to do as a job, where I was going to work or anything. Then in April, I managed to get a job, which was this one. And then I needed to start planning because I had to go back to Belgium, right? I had to go back to Belgium, wrap up my things and all of that stuff. So I knew where my job, where my office would be. I didn't know where I would live. And at the time, my sister lived in South Kensington, and she was like, oh, you should live in South Kensington because that's the only place I knew. And then, sadly for me, I discovered Belgravia, and I was like, no, I need to live here. But because I had seen so many places, I knew that this place was the right one for me. It was very expensive, and I had to make sacrifices. So I am nowhere near 33% of my income. I pay a ridiculous amount of rent for this, and I am fine with it. But I think that as I start thinking of my next goals, I need to fix that, because it's something where I made that decision, but I want to go whenever possible to my little rule of 33%. So I had been fixing it by obviously doing a very good job and getting promoted. But I don't get, when I get promoted, I don't get as much income or increase as to make a difference. That's how expensive this is. And so I decided to do a combination of things. End of June, I will move from this place. This is an amazing place, and I'm not moving because I want to go somewhere cheaper. It might even be that I go to a place that costs just as much or even a bit more. But it's just because it would have been 3 years in this place. But end of June, I need to stop using my storage unit, because I know it's a bit under £150 a month, but it's £150 a month that I could pay towards my rent and not for a storage unit. So wherever I move, I need to have a place where I have enough storage not to need a storage unit. And at this point, my storage unit only has a few boxes. It's just that I don't want to go during the lockdown and just drag my boxes and my suitcase and all that stuff. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I need to increase my income, my take-home income. So end of June, I need to get promoted at work. And then the third one is I need another source of income, which is something that I need to think about, because if you do a 9-to-5 job, you can do 2 hours or 3 hours of something else, and you might have enough energy to do something in the weekend. But obviously this is one scenario. There are a lot of people who do a 9-to-5. There are even people who work part-time and they don't have time or energy to do anything else because of their other life obligations. It happens that with the line of work I'm in, I don't have bandwidth or energy to do anything else. And that's also something that I have realized, because recently I started reconnecting with some acquaintances from my pro bono work, my extra professional activities, etc. And I remember we were in a Zoom call a couple of days ago, and this guy started by saying, you know, with this pandemic, we all have so much free time on our hand. You cannot help but just sit down for a few hours every day and think. I was like, how is that even possible? And then I remembered that actually he's in the humanities field. So it was actually interesting, because in the day before I talked to another friend that I know from that context. She's in academia. She teaches a few hours. She plays with her kids. They go foraging. And that was quite helpful, because for almost a year, the only people I surrounded myself with were people in my field. Very, very high performance, very, very high pressure. So for me, colleagues were working until midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m. We've had lots of weeks where we just didn't even talk to somebody outside of a screen, right? The only exception was my sister, because she's in a different line of work, but I always thought, yeah, my sister is always different anyway. That was the first time that I saw that other people actually just had time to do nothing. And it felt weird. I need more of that. I was thinking, I need to bring more balance. I obviously don't want to be that person who sits for hours a day just thinking about life, because I anyway still get paid. But I don't want to be working past midnight all the time and feeling that my free time is used to just recover my mental energy. So I have been making changes, and I have been very, very deliberate about what work I do, what work I don't do, and how I manage my time. And I'm very happy about how it's progressed so far, because I've noticed that the quality of my work did not decrease, but the number of hours and my satisfaction has incredibly, tremendously increased. And the things that I did differently was essentially communicating to people, saying, okay, so this I see needs to be done differently. Most of the time, I'm the only person able to rewrite an approach or something like that, because it requires a certain way of thinking to do it. I will do it on my timeline. I will tell the people, happy to rewrite the project approach for you. I will do it by Thursday. Every time people said, yes, sure, of course, Thursday. You know, don't even worry about it. We can send it Friday morning. I even had people say, no, actually, let's do it next week. It never, that's a small difference, but it's just something where I always felt like I was letting people down by not doing things on an impressive schedule. And now what I've been doing since January is that I'm still on an impressive schedule. So I should not tell myself, no, I should have done it even earlier, especially that I'm doing a lot of things in parallel. And so I have noticed that I don't have that resentment. And so I don't burn that energy just feeling so bad for myself. And because I've done it many times, I've just done it with so many people. And I realized that actually that insecurity was all in my head. I need now to continue doing this because I feel that I do my best work and I am in the best mental space to get even more result out of it. So now I do the work, I do it well, I decide when I want to send it, and then when I pitch it, I win it because I'm not tired and did not get any sleep. Win, win, win. So the implication of this is that I actually did not work until midnight any day in January. I'm very happy with that. That means that if I am able to sustain this for the next few months, that within 2 or 3 months I would have recovered a little bit of my energy, mental and physical, to be able to sit down, maybe just 1 hour or 2 hours every weekend, and think, what can I do to actually get additional income that is passive income? For me, it's very important to not have income that involves me doing work that increases incrementally as you increase the output. It's very, very important. I need something that, one, does not involve might have some input at the beginning, but I shouldn't. If I multiply the output by 100, I shouldn't have to multiply the efforts by 100. And I need something that does not involve me using Moroccan heritage and the Moroccan thing identity, because I think that this is the default part that a lot of people go to. And because I believe I have the ability to shine in something else, I'd rather not crowd that space more than it is crowded. I need something that uses my existing strength, not just the fact that I come from a country that has so many things to offer and so many beautiful things that people would want to buy. So I will need to think about that. But if we look at my timeline, nothing will happen before June. Because end of June is when I move my place, I move apartments. End of June is when my work better promote me, and then I will give myself a month or two to settle in the new place, because it takes time. I need to find where I want to live, and it needs to be at the same standard as this. And then once I settle down, I need to think, how do I get additional income? And I will keep track of how much my rent costs and how much my income is. And I will be extremely happy when I hit the 33%. One thing I'm very aware of is that financial literacy is quite important. I discussed this with somebody at work, and my colleague from HR said she will try to organize a mini seminar with some accountant or something, I don't know, some kind of teacher, to give us the basics of finance and accounting in the UK. So I'm really keen on attending such a thing, just to understand how the tax here works, etc. And I'm aware I could Google these things, but the problem is that when you go on forums and things like that, it's a lot of opinions, and there is no consequence in somebody posting something that is wrong, even when they think it's correct, right? So I'd rather just have somebody come and explain it 1 hour, 2 hours, and then I know exactly how things work. And the other thing is, I don't want to invest in things that I don't understand. So I have a lot of, like one of my mentees, he invests in stocks, he invests in Bitcoin, he invests in gold and all these kind of things. The only thing I would probably be willing to invest in would be gold, because I know that how it works. Traditionally in Morocco, a lot of people, some typically women, would be buying gold as a way of, obviously it's a nice ornament and jewelry, etc., but also as a way of saving extra money, and then whenever they need to have access to funds, they would just go in and resell it, because it's very rare that gold depreciates. Obviously it goes up and down and up and down, but that's something I understand. I understand gold is something that holds value, so I would be probably okay buying a few gold coins or a gold bar or something. When I was a child, we used to have there was these cartoons. It's Uncle Scrooge. In French, it's called Picsou. It's like a duck that has a that who really likes money, and he sits on a mountain of coins, and he likes gold, etc. So when I said gold bar, I just had that image of that Uncle Scrooge. I wouldn't be an Uncle Scrooge, and anyway, a gold, like one of these gold bars is like £500,000. So no. But anyway, so yeah, I think gold is something where I would probably buy a few coins if I manage to get extra liquidity. Stocks, I don't know how to buy stocks. Maybe I would research that in the summer and buy a few of these and create my own little portfolio. I'm not in a hurry to do that. I just think that it's one of those things that require a lot of follow-up, etc. So maybe I'll do it in summer when I have sold all my things about moving, about seeing what my new role is and things like that. Bitcoin, no. A lot of people made money off of it, and I'm very happy for them. I don't do that. So if I don't have time to understand this. I don't like things that are a hype, and I know that people keep saying, oh, if you don't invest in this or that, you're stupid. And I'm like, you don't bully people into investing in things, and you really should not be consider yourself as successful if you feel the need to call somebody stupid just to feel that you've made the right decision. So if you made investments, you made money off of it, good, keep it to yourself. So I don't like all these people who try to just get you to invest in this and this and that. When I just moved to the UK, I had just moved after I had finished using up all the, paying for everything required for the move and everything. I had a bit of extra money, and I invested it in a bond, and the company went bust. So I'm also very wary about bonds, and in hindsight, I actually should have done my diligence, because there is a process, right? I'm a consultant, I should be able to do this. There is a company, you look at the company, you look at the historicals, how did they perform, how did they grow, and then you see, okay, so what is the chance of them actually growing further? What are their growth hypotheses? Are they going organically, inorganically? Based on their track record, what do we think they're going to be doing? Are there any things we need to be wary of? I just did not do that, because I was just like a normal person buying a piece of paper. So I lost my money on that, which means that when it comes to bonds, I would probably not invest in bonds unless I have the time to do a due diligence. Which hopefully, if I continue managing my time well, in a few months I will be able to do, because it takes several hours to do a proper due diligence. What else? I would think one last financial goal for me is to kind of sort out all the administrative bits. So I have been getting some notifications from HMRC, which is the tax thing, like the IRS. I know everything is right, but they want me to sign up to an account online, and I've been trying to sign up to this account, and every time they say, oh, we'll send you the password, Royal Mail are having issues. So by the time I receive a password, it's actually expired, because it's only valid for 7 days. The last time I tried to do that again, actually I didn't even receive a password, it's been weeks, and so things like that. So I just feel like it's one of those things where, yes, you want me to create an account. I created an account to access the portal, but I need to create another account for something else, and blah blah blah. Them trying to be all paperless and all that. So that's one thing I have in mind. I have my account in Morocco that I've been having so many issues because they've been taking all these crazy charges for random stuff. They've been charging me for a premium account where I don't even have a bank card. I asked them to remove the premium package. They've still been charging me for years. I'm trying to do some money transfer to my relative's account. I wasn't able to do that. They weren't able to update my phone number. It's just all these kind of things where I have money sitting in Morocco and being eaten by the bank. It's very sad, but it's also one of those things where I know that you have to go and you need to be there, and you need to go multiple times to the bank. And it's just exhausting. It's been months. I write them every 2-3 days on average. And then the last thing would be probably my bank account in Belgium. I had kept my bank account in Belgium open because I needed to pay for a few things. I had some tax bits from when I was still in Belgium, etc. Because the way that their taxes work drags, and I never understood this, but anyway. But this is the last year that I have anything left from Belgium to do, so I just need to close my account, but I didn't find a way to close it online, so I need to investigate that a little bit more, otherwise I just let it die. And then I had a Revolut, which is a bank card that I used. It was an online bank card, and it's one of those cards where it's all virtual, so they don't really have like a building where you would go to your bank. And it's quite interesting for people who are just getting started with jobs that are not in their physical location, or you don't have the right currency, etc., etc. There are a lot of banks like that, virtual banks. But I used it especially during the transition between the Belgium and the UK. And then I had a new phone, and I just wasn't able to use it on my phone on my new phone. Even though I downloaded the app, it will not transfer, and I have to always keep using my old phone to do that. I don't have any money on it, but it's just one of those things that just takes time because I just need to close it. I wasn't able to close it. I was in touch with the customer service. It's just annoying. So yeah, I closed my Amex from Belgium a couple of years ago, but you know, these kind of things where you just know that they're so annoying. So I think it was a problem opening bank accounts, and it was even a problem managing them, and it's a problem closing them. And I feel that at times banks and other service providers count on that, on the fact that it's so tedious and ridiculous to get something done. They just give up and they continue taking your money, right? Yeah, you had this sometimes with the phone providers, with the internet providers, etc., etc. They just wear you thin, and then you're like, okay, fine, just take the money. So these are some of the things that I have been working on for a long time, and I really want to just get rid of in this year. That brings me to the last point in the financial resolutions in this video. I'm aware these videos are very long, but I asked last time and some of you did not mind the longer format. It's just easier for me to speak and ramble on than to make very concise videos. I just sit down on a Saturday and just talk you through my thoughts. So the last component of my finance thinking is where to spend and where to just save. And that's something that I have been yo-yoing on, but I feel that I have converged over the past year to having a very clear philosophy towards that. So for instance, when it comes to food, I have been spending a lot more money on food because I look at it as almost as a working tool or an investment. So when I was working in an office, I did not spend as much on food because I didn't mind having boring dinners and things like that. because I just needed something practical. I anyway got lunch around the office, so I just buy something and it would cost me like £7 or something, because everybody went to have lunch, and I kind of bonded with them. And a few times a month we would go and have dinner. So dinners were essentially like at restaurants, would be paid by work. And whenever I would go out to a restaurant in the weekend, it would be because I wanted to be with my sister, or I wanted to be with a friend. So I don't look at it as a cost, I look at it as the investment required to have a good time with the people I cared about. In the pandemic, as the restaurants closed, I did not see myself do a lot of food ordering. I think I've done it a couple times when I really could not even open my eyes. But I had been ordering better quality food. I have been ordering pre-made food that I just need to cook and things like that. And that was after a nice discussion with a friend of mine. So she's in Dubai, and I remember having that call, that catch-up call. Was a very long one, and we were both complaining. She said, you know, Uga, I'm in the same situation, and what I did is I just get all of these boxes delivered. I was like, but you know, I'm not lazy and blah, 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 blah. I was like, no, it's not being lazy. It's essentially, I am beyond tired. I just need to lay down. I can afford to have food. So why eat potatoes and pasta and omelets every day? Even nutritionally, there was nothing green in what I eat, just because I didn't have the time. So I started doing that a little bit more. In the meantime, now that I have also improved my working style, I can also get a bit of broccoli. I can get a few things in. So I think this was the right decision. So my food spend has increased. My restaurant spending has almost disappeared. I order twice a week, and it's usually when I am with my sister, because my sister likes ordering food. It's a lifestyle choice. As I said, we all have different priorities. She cooks a little bit, but she also likes to order. And I consider it as a nice investment to have a nice time with my sister. If my sister is coming around, I don't want to have been cooking for 2 hours and being a bit grumpy on all the cleanup that I have to do afterwards, etc. I want us to just pop Modern Family, or whichever series we're looking at. Right now we're watching Modern Family, and then just have a nice discussion about the week, about our goals, about how we want to progress in life, etc. So I think it's so nice to be doing this. So yeah, food spend increased, restaurants annihilated, takeout mostly for my sister. Other areas of spending, I have not spent money on makeup. I think during the pandemic, I did not buy makeup stuff. I think the Bobbi Brown correctors that I got them a little bit before, or maybe the first month of the pandemic. What I bought instead was actually nail polishes, and that's something that made me, I know it's a weird thing, but it just made me extremely happy to just have nail polishes. So that's the one thing I bought. I feel that I invested quite a lot in my skincare, because you know, people have the different signals that where you can tell whether they are okay or not. One of my signals is if I'm not doing okay, you see it on my skin. So right now, because I've been thinking a lot, I've been working a lot, I can see that my skin is a little bit dull and tired. I also have a little bit of inflammation, not as bad as when the lockdown just began, because I was just in complete freak out mode. But I'm not wearing makeup, so you can see like I have that. Obviously I have congestion, so I will need to look up recipes for how to clear my pores, because that's something that I've never done. Clearing, I know, sorry, it's a bit gross, but I know some people like popping pimples and all that. They enjoy it. I'm not one of those. It's very weird. I just never enjoyed doing it. So when my pores get cleaned, it's usually in a facial setting. So somebody's doing it for me, and I'm not looking at the stuff coming out. And I just can't get myself to do it. I think it might have to do with my OCD though. because I think of dead cells and bacteria and all that. So it might have to do with my OCD. I never thought about it, but I just don't, I can't. So I know that because it's been months that I did not have any facial, that my skin is extremely congested. And actually, the one thing I'm gonna do, the first thing that the lockdown is out, is that I'm going to book a facial with Natalia. That's something that for me is really important. So I feel that I invested in my skincare, and I'm very happy about that. I spent a lot of money on my health. That's for sure. I told you in the previous video about my physio. I finished going to the physio, so I did have to go a couple more times. The last time I went was actually Tuesday, and I'm happy. I'm happy that I actually invested in that. I'm happy that I finally addressed the issue, because the pain in my knee was just so crazy, and I thought, oh my god, I didn't even know, because at some point I thought it was a knee problem. Once I realized it was just a small misalignment in my back, and that he just needed to quickly fix it, and thinking of all the months that I was in such pain because of that, I just feel sorry for myself. Same thing for the dentist. That was unbelievably expensive, but I got my mouth guard. I showed you that earlier in the video. I wore it for the first time last night. It feels weird. When I woke up in the morning, my two front teeth were a bit sore because it's still very tight, and I still feel like because it needs adjustment. I feel like the left side I have contact, I don't have contact on the right side, but it was the first night where I did not have clenched teeth. I am supposed actually to wear it also during the day, so after I finish my tea, my second tea, I'm going to quickly brush my teeth and wear it. But that's also something where I know it will take a bit of time, it will need to soften, etc. But I think it will make a great difference, because part of why I have multiple migraine triggers, but one of the reasons was that I had when I did the clenching and grinding, it focused quite a lot on the left hand side, and it was really stronger here, so the pain would go, and then eventually at some point I get to have migraines on very bad days. So I think that I already felt that it's a bit different, and this thing and the mask, I invested in my little mask. I absolutely love it. I was a bit disappointed when I just opened it. You saw that earlier also in the video. And then I saw that actually you can wash it. You can even put it in the washing machine at 30 degrees C. So actually I'm fine with that. And it's much better quality. So I'm going to recycle the two ones that I have that used to give me a headache, like because of how tight they were. So I'm going to recycle these in the textile recycling. That's something I'm very happy about, because when I was in Brussels, we did not have textile recycling. Part of me, it's not really fully the reason, but part of me would like to think that the reason I brought with me so much stuff was because I had nowhere to toss it when I was in Brussels. Whereas here, you know that you have these places where you can go to recycle textiles, and it makes me feel better about editing my wardrobe all the time. And that's something that I'm also very happy about. When it comes to the save versus buy, I have the few things that I bought are things that I have been wearing non-stop, like my socks. I have my socks here, I have an extra pair there, I have a pair on my bed. I love my little woolen socks. I love my little Zara jeans that I showed you in the previous video. So I feel that every purchase that I have been making has been used to its fullest, and I'm very happy with that. The next investments I want to make will also be along these lines, where I spend money on things that give me help me get a nice base to either lifestyle wise, or for example I invest in my skin so I don't have to pay for makeup, because I used to pay quite a lot of money for foundation. If you think volumetrics, foundation is the one thing that you would buy very often if you are a proper foundation user, not like you put a dot and that's it. And I feel that because I have stopped wearing foundation, I do have a couple bottles in my collection, but I know that it will be for if I have a very big event, and I know there are gonna be a lot of pictures and flashback and all that. So then I get to fix and blah. But because I no longer wear it, I didn't feel the need to buy any makeup, and I like how my skin looks. Same thing for the body. I feel like because I eat better, I don't get as tired. I don't feel the need to buy like antacids or any other kind of medicine. I still take my supplements because my metabolism burns through stuff like crazy. Like I eat all the time. People at work make fun of me because they're always like, whenever Olga is on a video call, she's always eating. I don't do it on purpose, but yeah. But I really burn through stuff. That includes nutrients. So that's why I need the supplements. What else? I want to invest in my sleep hygiene. So the eye mask thing was the first step. The mouth guard was another step. But I want to really make sure that my environment, my sleeping environment, is getting better and better. And I'm still struggling with that. Like I'm trying my best, but I'm still struggling because I'm hyperactive and I'm using earplugs. So I'm trying to think of what are other things that can help me. But if I can like throw money at it, I would, because I wake up dozens of times at night. I keep tossing back and forth. So if I have something that helps me sleep through a night, you know, it's one of those shut up and take my money, you know. I'm still exploring that. Yeah. In terms of splurges, I'm going through a gold phase. It's been a few months now that I just want to get gold pieces. I want gold earrings. And I want them to be like proper gold earrings, not like just a dot. And I want gold rings. I'm trying to link that to professional milestones or life milestones. So maybe I will try to see if I have a very nice professional milestone, I might get myself a ring, and then every time I get such a nice milestone, something similar, I will get more pieces. But I'm really craving gold. Like my skin craves gold. That's something I really wanna indulge in. And as to my next purchase, it's not exciting, but I'm going to buy Birkenstocks. So I re-updated my sit-in position because the last time I went to my physio, he asked me to change that. I sent him a picture of my setup, and he was like, actually, I'm short. I'm short, so my feet typically don't touch the ground unless I'm wearing shoes. And because it was cold, I was wearing socks, and I was wearing socks without shoes, so it put a strain on my inner hamstrings and my knees. But I tried for a few days to wear my heavy boots because they have that little platform. But actually I decided to buy simple Birkenstocks that you can, like sliders, so I can still wear my ugly socks, my ugly Nordic socks with my shoes, because it's just at home. I only have two pairs of Birkenstocks, but they're the finger ones, and that's because I had bunions in my feet, and so I couldn't wear proper Birkenstocks that the classic one, the Arizona model, for example. So I only could wear the one with the finger thing because it helped separate my fingers. But then last year I had surgery on my left foot, which had the worst bunion, and now I still have my right bunion, but my right bunion is like at stage 2. So it's still not as bad, and now I should be able to slip my feet in Birkenstock. It's a small thing, but you wouldn't imagine. It's been years I've been dreaming of just being able to buy shoes without overthinking it. I've bought a lot of shoes in my life that I had to give or return. It's just crazy. Just the other day I gave some boots to my sister, but that's for a completely different reason. I mean, they were Birkenstock boots, but she was going to buy, I just hit my knee, she was going to buy boots because her boots heel fell off, and I was like, do you want something for fashion? Or she was like, no, I just need them because I need to commute to work, and she's been walking to work, so it's a 30-minute walk, so she cannot wear things with heels. And I said, if it's just for the cold season, there is no need for you to buy another pair of boots. I have a pair of boots that I bought a year and a half ago, and I never used them, so you can have them. Like they still had the tags on, and so I just gave her that instead of never wearing them. It's not like I have lots of boots. I only have my short black ones, my brown. One day I'll do my shoe collection because it's very, very small. But anyway, I'm very excited. And I want to buy more shoes. I'm still a bit careful, and I'm still actually thinking when would be the right time to do my second foot, because my left foot is now relatively flexible. Yeah, but I think I don't know whether I want to do the next foot next year or even wait a few more years. So I will need to think about it, because it's life changing. My feet are you see how my hands are like this soft, and my feet are the same. And so everything, I remember the other day I wore shoes. When my sister saw my feet, she was like, "What happened?" I get blisters. I get like they're extremely soft, and so the combination of them being extremely soft and having a slight congenital deformity meant that wearing shoes was torture. And I always envied people, including my sister, who could just buy shoes from a normal shop where I had to get orthopedic ones. I still remember there was when I was still in Morocco, one of my earliest videos was a shoe collection, and I still remember when I published it, and then one girl commented, and she was like, "Oh, you have absolutely no taste. You dress like such an old lady. Why do you even post this?" Yeah, good times. Is there anything else I'm going to invest in? No. So other than that, which is, to recap, sleep hygiene, anything that helps me improve my sleep, I will invest in. I will buy 2 pairs of Birkenstocks because I need to wear that at home. When I walk just on the floor, it hurts my knees. And when I sit, I actually need to have contact with the floor. But every other setting is actually fine. I'm going to continue investing in skincare. Matter of fact, the moment we are able to go somewhere to do a facial, I will do a facial because it's been many months. Anything medical is an investment I want to take, and I will invest in educating myself about finance and investments. I will not invest as in pay time, but pay for the time, but like I will get our HR to do it, and I will do my own research whenever I have the time. So these are the things I really want to invest in. For the rest, I want to be able to continue spending money when it means I'm having a great time with my sister, and continue investing money when it's something that helps me with my work, etc. Other than that, all the rest will be saved. So these were my financial goals, everything that I will be focusing on in the next few months. I don't have any other resolutions. I would say I continued doing a little bit of working out every now and then, and I'm very happy with that. So it's now roughly 4 or 5 times a week if it's a good week, and I'm not forcing myself, and I've been reaching out to other people. So yeah, all good.